Greetings gamers! Welcome to part number 53 of my Let's Play Fire Emblem 9 Path of Radiance, and in today's episode it is time to begin this fight, onslaught against Nados Castle. I am excited, thrilled even, to take on this wonderful, wonderful episode, especially because at the end I'm going to be turning back on animations for the rest of this game. Alright. Can Alencia reach? Yes, but with the Sonic Sword. Okay, that's fine, I guess. Necessarily, there's not very many chapters left, so using this a little bit is fine, especially because I still have a Hermern. And though I would like to Hermern the Rune Sword if necessary, I don't actually know if that's going to be necessary. So, Geronio, you can go here. I'm going to chant for you. And then I am going to move him up as far as I possibly can. Throw the good old wish list. Nice, nice, Geronio, nice. KO is appreciated because I need to get rid of all of the units I possibly can over here. So there's a Killer Axe guy here. Wonder if Mist can KO him. Not quite. Titania might be able to. So yes, she can, but there's some crit chance against her. So what I'm going to do here is take out the one, to the best of my abilities, that is, because I am not doing enough damage. Granted, I could have obviously used the Rune Sword here for this KO, but it doesn't particularly matter because I'm not all that bothered. Nice, very nice. Alright, so because Shade is not all that reliable, I am unfortunately going to have to just leave him there. Volk is going to have to take a back seat for a moment. Alright, 15 times 3. And he guarded, so that means that soldier never even got an attack in, which is very funny to say the least. I don't think those guys have anything notable. Thoron, El Thunder. Do I need to use Thoron for you? It's not even KOing, unfortunately. Alright. And strike you down with good old Thoron, the powerful tome. Very, very interesting. I love how that Thoron has always had this, like, spherical look to it. Very different, to say the least. And eat Flame Lance. That is my turn. And of course, there is a Bolting Sage here. He's going to attack Shinon because that just makes the most sense. Good job throwing a Tomahawk and doing next to nothing. And of course, that is a KO for Devdan because the Flame Lance will do damage equivalent in magic, both near and far. Very nice. This is why I did not want to equip her with the Rune Sword. I knew everybody was going to attack her rather than Titania. I think the only exception to that rule would have been necessarily the ranged guy here because I didn't use ranged on Titania. The enemy does typically like to prefer attacking a unit that cannot attack back. Ooh, took a bit of damage. I wonder if that bolting in conjunction with that cat Leguse would have KO'd him. And you missed. How does a tiger miss his prey? I'll tell you how. Titania, that's how. Incredible unit. Very nice. This is why Vantage is awesome. Vantage and Wrath combo is great too, I understand that, but you just gotta appreciate the fact that, yeah, oh my gosh, if bolting would have hit, he would have died for sure. You gotta appreciate the fact that Toronio doesn't care. He doesn't need it. Alright, take a fulfill to the face. Goodbye, Cat Leus. And I think I'm going to attack you with Titania. Yeah. That whole crit on the second hit issue. It's almost like this game is trying to pretend it has follow-up crit modifier. Almost like... So one thing that's very, very important to do in this chapter, and this is something that I do in every time I play this game, is if you don't have chest keys, you want to make sure you bring Voke or Soth or both. Be very careful though, because of things like bolting. However, you want to make sure that you are KOing these thieves before they reach the upper doors, because there are a lot of chests in this chapter, and they are all of great importance. You do not necessarily want to allow them to pilfer those and then just disappear on you. Alright, Har, I can move you up. Yeah, it was very unfortunate that I couldn't bring Stefan. But what can you do? Silver Sword missed his one-shotting. She is every bit the equal of good old Ike. At least for the time being. Very nice. I was hoping for a crit, but I didn't necessarily want to say anything about it because the problem is, when you say it, you know what happens. It just doesn't happen. And of course, I'm going to use Alencia to heal up Shinon here after I use Rayson to make her move again. Shinon, of course, needs it the absolute most. I also do have the Ashira staff on Mist. I don't have a Fortify yet, but I will be rectifying that very soon. So Ike and Alencia's support may not be the best thing in the whole wide world, because like at B, it's only giving, I think, 15 hit, 15, or at A, it's only going to give 15 hit and 15 avoid. That's not terrible. It does help both of them concerning combat. But where it really helps is that Alencia needs all the avoid she possibly can. Alencia is a death condition. She is a lose condition in this game, regardless of when she is defeated, whether chapter 26, 27, or onward. So most people bench Alencia because it is usually agreed upon that she is more of a liability than she is an asset. And I have to kind of agree. I think that if you're not going to do what I did... Okay, these doors have 40 strength. So I'm going to use a door key so I don't just waste all day trying to deal with them. So most people bench Alencia because unless you're going to do what I did, it is large and by far an issue of... Do you really want to let your game end because you brought a unit who wasn't really all that prepared for the fighting? She at base, oh my gosh, that was an incredible level up. Thank you, Toronio. You needed speed. At base, Alencia is not at all capable of dealing with any of the enemies in Clash. She's just not. She's not that great. At base, as you can see, when she is not at base, she is quite powerful, quite formidable. And I'm going to equip the Amity. All right. Yeah, you can reach up here. I think that's a much better use of my units currently. Devdan going as far as he possibly can, especially because, you know, Har has Kanto. That is something to keep in mind when you're playing these games, is who has Kanto, who doesn't. Okay, good old Har. He is at the threshold of being able to use Wrath. I'm somewhat considering leaving him at that threshold, but that's going to largely depend on when I open this door. Because regardless of which door you open, whether here, here, or here, it opens all three, which I think is cool. Very nice. So I'm actually not going to open this just yet. Oh my gosh, that was a lot of damage. Man, that could have been a defeated Har. Very bad on my part. And a very nice crit on Tyronio's. He is really getting a lot of function out of that wish list. Sometimes adding crit to the weapons, though it is not like technically recommended by most because it adds a lot of expense, can be a good thing. And Shinon is basically back up to full health. So I particularly did not want to open this door until I had a better foothold, but I think I might be doing that this turn. Brave Bow, Killer Bow. He's not really doing anything to these guys. That is one problem with my Shinon. He doesn't have all that high strength. And because he doesn't have that high of a strength, he's, well, not exactly the best unit concerning dealing with these enemies. Alright, so it is obviously better for a Kanto unit to have the chest key. Okay. Very nice. All these crits, it's fantastic because it's saving a lot of time. Let's just say that. Alright. You're not really on a timer on this chapter, which is nice. This is entirely an arrive chapter. Oh, I could do this. I think this would be more helpful in the grand scheme of things. Especially because once I get these chests done and over with, I can have Valencia actually doing things that are more important than just loot gathering. Silver Lance. Very nice. Yeah, so I do have to heal Har. I think I'm going to wait just another turn before I open that door. Particularly so that I could KO this wonderful unit here who keeps on attacking me. Wasting my time, huh? So, I'm going to waste your time. You are gone. And the final chest in here gives me a Physic, another one that's always beautiful, wonderful even. I'm going to get to the point, and that point is going to be very soon, where I no longer need to use anything other than just Physic staves, which I absolutely adore. Alright, trade. You can equip that rune sword, whereas Titania is going to equip the tomahawk and get ready. So the reason why I wanted to wait just a moment for opening this door is because there are some very deadly enemies behind said doors. So yes, opening one door doesn't open all three. I said that wrong. What it does do is show you what's behind all three. I need to break this door open and go over and KO this guy who has the sleep staff. Though, granted, I don't actually have to do that. I could just put him to sleep myself. I think that's a good idea. I think that's a better idea, instead of leaving somebody out in the middle of nowhere and open. So, yes, there's a guy here with bolting, as well as there is a guy here with meteor. This guy has a chest key, which is really nice. Break. Very strange that I did exactly 39 damage to both of those. And obviously the meteor is going to attack Har, which is not that big of a deal because I think that would kind of play into my plan. Mr. Bolting here, I'm going to have to take care of him before I put Volk in the way. Because again, knowing this game, it's not going to go well. So, a silence? Could that work? Yeah, let's use up the silence first. Perfect. Open Sesame. I halfway want... Yeah, but the problem is he doesn't have any ranged weapons. I halfway wanted Tyronio to deal with that, this whole horde of enemies. I think it would be better for him to do it than even Ike. But Ike, I don't think, is unsuited for it necessarily. Especially because I'm going to equip the good old Noble, use the pure water, and I am going to, well, only a 52 hit. That's alarming. Well, one thing I can do is try it and hope. Alright, cool. He actually was silenced, which is nice. I do have a sleep staff I could potentially use. This guy has a silence, but I don't think it's possible that he could silence anybody who would be important. Like, he's actually kind of close to being able to silence Tormod, but because he doesn't have higher magic, that's just not a thing. And yeah, that's my turn. Nado's castle is looking to be over with pretty darn soon, especially considering that I am already basically to the point where I'm facing down the boss. Hayfed is just a little bit further up. I have to deal with this wonderful room ahead of me, and then I'm pretty well done. Hopefully Ike is doing enough damage to... he's not. Not doing enough damage to 2-hit. Of course. This is going to make this room last even longer, which is the unfortunate part. Luckily for me, it's not all that big of a deal because I have the capability to move my units and chant. Very nice dodge, Titania. I don't think he would have done all that much damage, Thoron is nowhere near as powerful as it is in some previous iterations of Fire Emblem. However, it is still not something I would have necessarily liked taking. Titania doesn't want to get hit. Alright, I think he is one that she is 2-hit KOing, and doesn't matter. She decided to crit. Ooh, not good. Too many more of those guys hit, and yeah. Alright, cool. Devdan quit his onslaught. I'm not really pleased with this, but yes, he's not going to be healed up enough. Okay. Noble Armor Slayer, you know, Armor Slayer is actually, you know, doing a pretty reasonable amount of damage over here. Alright, so it's likely that I'm only going to be able to dance for 2. Not the biggest of deals, but it's definitely not ideal. Alright, Alencia, what's your 14th level going to look like? Max strength, that's what it's going to look like. Very nice. Heavily appreciate that wonderful news. Alright, you two can get moving again. This will provide some good room clearing, that's for sure. I'd need as much of it as possible too, because this room is, though it's not necessarily full, there are a lot of strong enemies over here. And I do want to get rid of them as soon as I possibly can. You have the Brave Bow. Very nice. If Ike had done that against the general who was blocking his way, that would have made this whole situation just a little bit brighter. Brave Bow. Well, you can't complain about a double crit. Shinon is living up to his legacy. His glory, if you will. And Tyronio, of course, going to do a billion damage. Alright, so there are, I think, no, yeah, there's no ranged weapons up here. So what that means is I don't really have to worry about Shinon taking a bunch of damage right now, which is great. Because then I can just attack somebody with Alencia. Don't have to worry about necessarily healing with Alencia right now. And Mist, of course, is going to finish off this bolting Sage. And Titania has her hands full. Empty now, but they were full. Yes, a good old chest key. Volk is only, well, Volk or Soth are only needed for the pilfering of one chest. Now, you could technically let a single thief pilfer one chest, particularly on the, well, it really doesn't matter which side. Well, particularly the right side, because you don't want the double bow thief to go up here and pilfer a chest, because then you're only going to get one of the items he has instead of 2. And a vulnerary. That is my turn. I wonder why he moved up closer to attack Har. That's kind of very strange. It's not like Meteor or Bolting or Blizzard gain hit upon moving closer, so it's very much a waste of his energy. Unfortunately, the game doesn't necessarily think about these things. And of course, Tyronia is going to be attacked before Ike because he does have Provoke. Otherwise, Ike would just be attacked here because Ike has way less defense. That is an S rank in Lances. Unluckily for me, I'm not really going to get to use the S rank Lance. Yeah, so he's doing a fantastic amount of damage with this weapon. This weapon I particularly made, not for this chapter, but more or less for the next. The next chapter has quite a lot of very bulky and very strong units to deal with. You know, okay, DevDan, but you could do a lot better. I've seen you do a lot better. Grabbing this chest, you got the Resolve Scroll. Yes, Resolve. And you might be able to guess whom I'm going to be giving that scroll to. Very hilariously, it is a unit that most people probably don't even use, let alone give something as quote-unquote important as the Resolve Scroll to. The right-hand side is not doing so well. I could take out the Meteor Tome Wielder. Okay, Flame Lance, nice. And then Steel Lance. And unfortunately, he wasn't at Wrath. He is now, but he wasn't beforehand. Okay, so unfortunately, not real happy about this. What is that about? Elf Thunder has more crit than Thoron? That is very strange. Well, it would be nice if Tormod crit here. I used the wrong units in the wrong order to attack this group because it would have been very nice to get that Meteor Mage out of here. Okay. Silver Bow. Well, it looks like I'm banking on a crit. He got it, though. Very nice. That's pretty much exactly what I'm expecting from a Shinon level right now. That's not all that great. I need to take out you before you become a problem. The sleep staff could end up making my day a little bit less enjoyable. Yes, Ike, go ahead and heal yourself. 55 HP. Alright, level 18. You do need skill, I'll grant you that, but you also need defense. Would be fantastic if you got it. Alright, so before I fight Hayfed, I would like to show him off. He's a Halberdier, a tough one, in fact. He's got a Brave Lance and a Spear, but he also has a Night Ward, which is awesome. Too bad you can't get a second one. I would much rather have a Night Ward from him than an Occult Scroll. I will be real with you. But he has an A rank in lances, and very interestingly, he has miracle. Because he has a reasonable amount of luck, he has the potential to proc such a thing. 5 times 2. I think this is okay.
Leaving Dayan and siding with Crimea is not unheard of. Soldiers are human after all. However, the penalty for treason is steep, and now you must pay.
I do like how most of the Dayan generals have something to say to Tironio, but the problem is that he never says anything back, which is symbolic. You know, he's not really going to just say anything back to these guys. He knows he's not really done wrong, but done something that they would consider wrong. Treason, betraying Dayan, when really Dayan has betrayed herself. Because this is an Arrive chapter, you don't have to worry about necessarily using Ike to quote-unquote seize said chapter. Very nice. Ooh, one shot.
It appears this is the end.
You got the occult. Very nice. Alright, Tormod should be fine here. Of course, he is going to take a relative decent amount of damage from the other Hawk. The Feral Hawk, that is. Yeah, 13 more damage. Yeah, I was going to say, if I'm not mistaken, Tormod is doubling here, so he tripled there because of Adept. One thing I will say I do appreciate, even though I don't like the procs in this game, I think they look really dumb. Really dumb. The, like, I want to say mid-90s 3D, like, circular art style of, like, some flashing light around an enemy, or an ally in this case. They look really dumb. I at least appreciate that there is a proc for Adept, because the problem is that you don't have a proc for Adept in, like, Thracia or Genealogy. I hate that with a burning, fiery passion. I cannot stand it. Door key, you have my chest key. A good old crit. And then I will move right there. I can take that chest key. You got a spear, very nice. Always appreciate some good weaponry. Yeah, so look at those busted stats. Now, he no longer needs the Night Ward, so I am most likely going to be giving it over to Titania for the rest of her 2 levels, which isn't much, right? It's not like we're talking a crazy utility out of this, but I actually think she's a better user of it from this point forward anyway, because you want Tironio to get to his resolve range, and he no longer needs it for speed growth. So yes, that does reduce his defenses by a little bit, but even with the Night Ward, she could have triple from the Night Ward, and she still wouldn't have as much well, yeah, she still wouldn't have as much defense. She'd have more resistance. That's the only thing I was hung up on for a second there. Unfortunately, because I have another chest to grab, I have to wait one more turn, and then I'm going to grab that chest. A Fortify Staff. So yes, a staff that heals all surrounding allied units, 1 through magic divided by 2 range. This is fantastic. This is going to be Alencia's main staff alongside Mist's Ashira staff. I'm going to have a lot of party healing, which is amazing considering that before chapter 22, you have no possible way of healing your whole party. And before Chapter 27, you have no way of healing your whole party without using an S rank staff. But with that being said, this is the end of my episode. I want to thank you for joining me. If you like my content, please upvote and follow, or like and subscribe, depending on your platform. And while you're at it, have a great and glorious day gaming.